We are a school that was created for access for students who typically didn't have access to the arts.
You walk into their building and you hear music, see kids dancing, and that just gives you a sense of spirit.
Ellington is a great example of creating the right environment that allows kids to flourish.
Because we are a public school, we take kids at any academic level, as long as they have artistic aptitude.
You learn how to be a professional, you learn how to collaborate, you learn how to run the world. Ellington has always had this $100 million program. We just didn't have a building that matched.
Before we were Ellington, this building was Western, which was the neighborhood school for Ward 2. Mike Malone, Peggy Cooper Cafritz were looking for a building to support their workshops for careers in the arts. And because the enrollment was so low, they were like, here, you can have the building, and we are still critically important to the Black and brown community today.
Mike Malone, Peggy Cooper Cafritz, teenagers, just young people during a time where the country was battling racial injustice, sort of like now. These two young people said, I am going to see my way through this, and I'm going to create an opportunity for people who look like me. That then became the Duke Ellington School of the Arts.
The building's a landmark, it's old, but it wasn't a preserved building. It had been renovated, pieces had been ripped apart, pieces had been added throughout its 100-year life to that point, more than 100 years.
Definitely parts of the building didn't always feel like, is there mold happening here? What is this, water? So there were just structural things that were happening.
The gym had to become the dance studio. The auditorium had to constantly go through these different iterations to fit the needs of the performing arts department. The building was dictating the need for growth from day one.
As beautiful as it is, and it's a beautiful building, the building behind it's not necessarily this thing that's ready for you just to add another story to. It takes a lot of kind of remedial work to bring an 1890s building into the 21st century.
When we decided to renovate, it was really a partnership collaboration with the government that this should be an international competition, which speaks to Ellington. While we are in Washington, D.C., we are global ambassadors for the arts. That's just who we are.
They went out and solicited firms to come in and participate in the competition. We gravitated to this site. There was just so much potential, I think, here in this building. It was an opportunity to give new life to this structure.
A lot of the designers who presented designs to us, they were fabulous. David Ajay, who built the Museum for African American Culture and History, he was one of the people. He did a fabulous job, but no one really captured the essence like this team. Not just the essence of, a brand new building, the essence of the people who were already here.
You got to see who they are and experience who they are. Spend lunchtime with them and pick up and drop off with them in the mornings and evenings. To go to gym class, to sit with the faculty and listen.
Early on, there was discussion about the role that performance would play in the program. That becomes the beating, heart of this program. And so that was the genesis of this notion of a figural space that would represent that core of the program, and that the architecture and the energy, frankly, would radiate out from that.
The beauty is that this object that brings everybody together, the theater, sits in a box. And that box is also part of that community. It's an object and a space, and it's an inside and an outside, but that entire experience is about bringing community together.
The first video they showed us, it sold us. The contemporary side of it, the historic side of it, the brilliance of how to make this building work for the students, but still feel like it's home.
That's what we do for every single client, is to spend the time to sort of understand their character and specifically their culture so that we can understand the spirit.
There were Black people in the video. That was important because I wanted them to hear that, representation is important. No one ever spoke about it. I don't think we spoke about it. I don't think they spoke about it, but we saw it. This was Chris Gray and his team doing what I think every architect firm should do if you're working with a client. Sit back and listen.
I had a call from my boss telling me that we'd won the competition. I was kind of on cloud nine, I think. And then there was this realization, oh my goodness, we've got to build this thing. I was very familiar with Archicad as a piece of software. I'd even dabbled in the 3D elements of it, but I'd never used it as a BIM workflow. And so aware of the challenges ahead of us in terms of the geometrical complexity of what we were trying to achieve, especially the theater, we've got to do this fully as a BIM project in Archicad.
And this is a tool that allows us to bridge a lot of the kind of traditional separations between each of our roles and our tasks. They were using this model to solve, the issues that would have taken months to have worked out. They were doing it together in the room.
My instinct was to model something in 3D because I felt that it would be the easiest way to get to the 2D outcome.
Especially for the theater, the model was shared out to the steel detailer, the folks in Minneapolis that made the curved light gauge framing, so that they could see what we were looking at, see what Chris had designed, see what the clearances were, see the parts and pieces that had to fit in that they weren't directly involved with, all those pieces coming together. Chris kind of knew what all these parties were doing with the model. So it was kind of up to him to put it all back together as a consolidated, useful, accurate, vetted thing.
So, for instance, with the structural steel, the structural engineer and myself worked together to create a steel model inside of Archicad. We then sent that out to the steel detailer who used it to develop their more detailed fabrication model. But then they sent it back in IFC format. We imported it into our model. So we made our steel one color, we made their steel another color, and you could immediately see if they were overlapping perfectly or whether they were off or not.
We had just had parts and pieces for all the steel and all these parts on flat 2D plans. It would have been impossible to understand if it was going to work and just how it was supposed to come together. Most guys had never done it before. Just never seen that kind of way of doing a job. It was just really, really fantastic.
We wanted the users of the building to appreciate the heritage that they had in the original building. Probably the most significant part of that is the front side of the atrium where we've expressed the original brick wall. It was important to us that we retained that original kind of textured brick surface. We've actually kept a couple of the historic window openings that have now become mechanical louvers. That just gives the building more interest and this kind of sense of the old and the new together.
The historic preservation aspect was important. It's a shared goal of the team, right? And we knew it was going to be very important to the entities and the agencies that were going to eventually approve what we did here anyway. They were thrilled with how it all came together.
Behind that, we had a bit more flexibility, so we were able to express in a more modern way the exterior facade and to create contrast. We actually created a hyphen between the front bar and the new portion immediately behind it. We put two stairs that ran the full height of the building on either side, so they created a kind of separation. And then the echoes of the shell of the theater structure itself are expressed in the form of these big gray shells, but they don't quite touch. That kind of tension exists between the new and the old.
Yeah, you can't walk into any space, you can't look at any elevation from the outside and not see something that just required really Herculean coordination, collaboration, teamwork, high-fiving, getting into it. The rubber met the road here.
We were very aware that the original school was in many ways a rabbit warren. We could definitely see how one department might not really be very aware of what was going on in the other. And so we wanted there to be visual and literal connectivity across the building. The atrium was a device for that, so that you could look across the atrium and you could see visual arts department and you could look through the windows see the students.
The creation of this space really does make you feel connected. When someone's on the piano, that sound resonates through the whole building.
There's something in this building that helps us push forward. It's seeping through the walls, it's in the air. They did a great job of capturing us.
You look at that building and you go, that could only be architecture for Duke Ellington. And we ended with joy.
Here, we embrace that. Take that passion, take your perception, and let's do something with it. And they executed that perfectly.
This project simply wouldn't have been achievable without BIM and 3D modeling.
The list of things that are exciting, that were challenging, are in every corner of the building.
You created a project that people are still loving, that they will love forever. We created a shrine to our founders. We created an opportunity for the next 50 years of young artists to have a place to go and grow and go out and do what we do best, and that is save the world.